Hi, this is Jade Starling from Pretty Poison, and you're listening to the Nothing Shocking podcast.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studios is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any podcatchers. Like our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter at NoShockPod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, and downtown Davenport, Iowa. We'd like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's guest is
Jade Starling of Pretty Poison.
Yeah, she's got a new single coming out February 10th, Crazy, cover of the Seal classic. Yeah. And she's also got a new album possibly coming out by the end of the year, right?
She was hoping to release a couple more singles and then hopefully the new album by the end of the year.
Yeah, end of the year. So, hey, let's get to that interview.
Good night.
Good night. Jade, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce you to my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Jade, thanks for joining us tonight.
My pleasure. It's great talking to you guys.
Well, thank you so much for the correspondence. As you know, we're a non-genre-based rock and roll podcast, so we interview artists from all over the rock and roll spectrum, so we're so excited to have you tonight.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm excited to be with you.
Fantastic. Well, you have a new single dropping February 10th, Crazy. Can you give our listeners an insight on what to expect from this new music?
Well, it's actually a cover of the Seal mega hit.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that just happened to come up. It was in discussion, and it just seemed relevant at this time in the universe, how everything is just so incredibly crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed fitting, and although I don't prefer to do covers, this was one that really touched me and moved me, and I think the end result is amazing. I'm really happy with it. There's about 12 remixes, and I've worked with some amazing producers, remixers, and of course my main producer is Way Cooler. He's also my songwriting partner for years from Pretty Poison. So he has been writing and producing my solo stuff with me as well. So we are incredibly stoked for Crazy to come out in a couple weeks. It's on Tasmania Records. You'll be able to stream it, download it, whatever platform you do.
Mm-hmm.
Stream your music, Spotify, all that stuff. It's just so relevant at this time. It almost feels like a full circle moment for me doing this song.
So exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to ask you a little bit about the remixes. Do you, how involved do you get with picking, the groups that are going to do the remixes and the final output?
Pretty on top of all that. I mean, very, very hands-on involved with choosing the remixers and producers. There's actually a team of people I've been using. My last single, which dropped last July, is called So Live. That was actually an original. And it ended up going top 10 on the UK pop chart and number 1 across Europe on all like club and dance charts.
Wow.
So it did really, really well for us. And it was, and the fact that it was an original song really, really made it even more rewarding. And then it actually got added to Sirius XM. It was getting played on BPM, on Pitbull, and a couple of the hit stations. So we were really happy. But and also iHeartRadio was very supportive in their mix shows. So we're hoping, for the same for this next one, if not even a more broader appeal, because the song was such a big hit to begin with. So it's really important to work with the right producers, the ones that understand the genre and they can transcend the song and take it to the next level. So yeah, I'm loving all the mixes. And a matter of fact, just a few minutes ago before I jumped on this call with you, I was just approving the last remix that's going to go into the package, because everything has to be uploaded today because it's 10 days out till the release.
Oh, wow.
So yes, we finally dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, and it's getting hot in here. It's very exciting.
Nice.
Well, you'd spoke that you're not a huge fan of doing covers, but when it comes to doing a song like Crazy and doing it obviously Seal is a talent like no other.
Yes.
How daunting of a task was it you to take on this song and make it your own?
It's more like I'm paying homage to it, because I pretty much did what I would consider, I wouldn't say verbatim, but my interpretation of his version. Like, I didn't deviate from his version. I pretty much did. I did mostly close to what he did, but of course, having a female touch on there, I added a few little ad-libs of my own, and I think he would be proud. And the irony is, I just found out that he's going on tour for the first time in like 20 years or something. It's insane. So in fact, the night that we determined what the release date was going to be, I saw something on Facebook about Seal touring for the first time in many years, and a lot of tour dates. So I feel like the timing is right, and the gods are smiling down on us, and I feel like it's going to be good for us, good for him. I think he'll like it. I mean, we're going to definitely, send it to him, make sure he gets it, and hopefully listens to it. But I think he'll be proud of it, because we are very, very proud of it. I couldn't be prouder.
We are excited.
Well,
very excited.
Yeah, well, Eric and I talk about covers all the time, and I know not all artists are fan, like you said, not a fan of doing them. But I guess
no, it doesn't mean I didn't say I wasn't a fan of doing it. I prefer doing originals,
sure.
but when it is such a iconic song that I feel that we could do justice to. It's not the first time that we have done a cover. I actually covered Fired Up a few years ago, and that was also a huge hit for me all through Europe on club charts. I just say at this juncture, as a songwriter, I work with Way Cooler, and we write so much material that, of course, we want to get our original stuff out there too. But in a case like this, when you have such an iconic song and you can pay tribute to it in such a beautiful way, I feel the magnitude of the impact that this could possibly make definitely makes it worth rolling the dice on doing a cover.
Yeah,
well said.
Well, and I apologize if I misled you, but so the next part of my question was, now I don't think of all the people we've talked to, I don't think I've ever been able to flip it back and ask from the songwriter perspective. So on your website, you had just recently put on there that Sasha Ann did a 2022 remake of Catch Me I'm Falling. So from a songwriter perspective, can you talk a little bit about hearing somebody else doing one of your songs as a cover? How does that make you feel?
Well, we actually worked with her on that. She's a young artist I'm mentoring and vocal coaching. This was her introduction into the music world, putting out a cover of, I guess, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I mean, it is pretty iconic at this point.
Very much so.
It's okay to do that.
I'm not trying to say, I'm like the bomb or the crap or the shit, but I am. And, but the song, speaks for itself. So I thought it was actually very cute, the version that she did. And, Way Cooler did the music for it, and we, produced her, and we had her in the studio, and, we helped her along with it. So she is an artist I am working with at this time, and I just co-produced her new record that's coming out in April, and I also co-produced a video for that as well. So it's something that I always wanted to do, was work with a young up-and-coming artist, someone I could take under my wing and, give them pointers from my career, because I feel like, we have a lot to offer to a young artist, up-and-coming artist. So it's been very rewarding. At the same time, it consumes, my daily life, working with her, working, towards what we're doing right now, and also getting ready to go on tour. So doing a lot of juggling, and, I guess, honestly, guys, I'm just living for it. I love the challenge, and I love being busy, and I think I thrive when it comes to being under pressure and stress. I think I work better that way.
Nice.
Yeah, very good. Well, you have a new album on the horizon. Can you give our listeners an expectation of this new material? When can we see it come out for the tangible product? And also, can you talk a little bit more about the writing and recording process for this new music?
Yes, we've been in the studio. I mean, I feel like I live in the studio. So we basically live in the studio. Way Cooler runs a studio, and he does produce a lot of other artists when we're not working. So he's working with a lot of young hip hop and up and coming rockers. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, our plate is very diverse. So I'm usually working at night. We usually work in the late wee hours, and we've been doing this consistently for quite a few years now. The album has been in the works. I think, during the pandemic, like most people that were, shut in, it gave a lot of time to be introspective, and, the thought process was definitely, we have more time to focus on it. And a lot of amazing songs have come out of that. And at this point, we'll probably just be picking and choosing what we're going to use for the album, and if we are going to include any of these covers. But we've had a lot of club hits over the years, and people keep saying, well, when are you going to put an album, compile everything together so we can just have it all, so we can, listen to everything. So I think that's probably the move, to put all the hits plus add some new ones. And I'm no stranger to rock. I mean, we have a rock band too that we worked on for many years, but I just was so busy being called to do Pretty Poison dates that it just wasn't possible to go on tour with my rock band. But we still continue to make singer-songwriter music that can basically be treated in any way. You could remix it in any way. Sure. You could rock it out, you could dance it out, you could, whatever. I just feel like, the basis is the good song. A good song is a good song is a good song, and it doesn't matter if it's a rock song, if it's a pop song, if it's a dance song, or whatever. if it has a great verse and chorus and people sing along with it and it captures you and you connect with it in some way, in an emotional way, then I think, good music is good music. So I would just say that we're working on some great tunes right now and still kicking around some titles for an album. And hopefully by the end of this year, I don't want to rush it.
Yeah.
I'll end up dropping another couple of singles probably. I would say another single will come in the summer. And then I would say another single will come maybe by fall, and then the album before the year's out.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's still flowing. It's flowing every day. So, it changes. Everything changes daily. Like what we're going to focus on, what's going to be the next single, who we're, going to write some songs for other artists. And, I'd like to say that we're very prolific as songwriters. So I never like to limit myself. And, working with other artists too is also very, very rewarding and writing for other people too. So, I mean, we co-wrote a song with Joss Stone back in the day. I can't remember what she called it. Oh, I think it was called Proper Nice. She called it Proper Nice. So, I mean, we've worked with some pretty amazing artists along the way. So that door is always open.
Well, very good. I kind of wanted to take off what you just said about the pandemic. As everybody was locked down for 2 years, did you find that your songwriting, did you feel like you had a renaissance, a creative passion during the pandemic that kind of made you, want
to keep going?
Yeah, keep going. And I guess maybe inspiration. I guess maybe that would be the right thing to say.
I try to find inspiration in everything in my daily life, whether it's positive or negative. I mean, I believe that the inspiration was always there, but the fact that there was more time, like almost too much time, because there was nothing else to do.
Right.
Couldn't go out. We were doing some online performances, but I don't really get a thrill from that like I do from a live audience. So the next best thing was just, do some of these online performances and focus on songwriting. So yes, there were definitely waves of creativity and a lot of time to work on stuff and refine stuff. There wasn't that, any type of deadline really looming. There was a lot of time to work on music, and the focus was music every day. And truly, I think that the focus being music every day was a savior, because I go stir crazy. I don't like being in. I don't like staying in. It makes me insane. So to tell you the truth, I was going to the studio like every day during the pandemic. Yeah. We had a few people that would come in there, and of course we were very respectful of our space and things like that. Like, we weren't taking any chances, but I have to say, like, I was not a shut-in totally for the pandemic. I was out and about. I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
So,
you and me both.
Yeah. I'm sure you both, me, and a million other people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But we were just fortunate to have that outlet and be able to go to the studio and have a place to go and just be creative and still smile and laugh and be hopeful, that we were going to get through this. And sure enough, it looks like, for me, it's been over for a long time, but I know the media still clings to it and still tries to scare people. So,
and they do.
I think that, politics is a very double-edged sword, and we're living in some very scary times right now. So I think that music is one of those outlets that can bring us joy and take us on an emotional journey, and give us hope.
Absolutely,
we have to have hope for a future.
Well said.
And the way the media paints it, there's not much hope for a future. So I believe that music gives us that hope and gives us joy and fills our heart with, love. I mean, I'm an optimistic person, and I always try to stay positive. So that's my message. I don't like to be caught up in the negative. I know it's part of the narrative that they try to paint, but I think staying positive and listening to music. I mean, music is an escape. Music is a beautiful way to just paint our life as this, amazing painting. You could paint it any way you want it.
Well said.
Yeah.
Jeff, go ahead.
Well, I mean, we're excited because we're starting to see more shows popping up in the near future here in our area. So I was looking at your website, and you have some tour dates listed on there. I think in February you got Cupid's Ball and the original Freestyle Cruise. What can people expect with a Pretty Poison show, or how? What do you have in the works?
Those are the shows coming up. The Cupid's Ball of Holiday Inn, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, on February 11th. We always bring it. We bring a full show, lights, sound, dancers. I mean, it's a good time. And we like to make the audience feel a part of it. They're singing along, lots of hits. It's an all-inclusive thing. Sometimes I pull people up on stage. You never know. There's a little shenanigans going on,
Nice.
You never know how that's going to go. But people can definitely be assured that they're going to be entertained. They're going to be part of it. They're going to sing along. They're going to be happy. Escape from the doldrum of everyday life. Come to see a Pretty Poison show. You're going to come out feeling very fulfilled and happy. It's like a drug. It's like a natural high. And the freestyle tour is very interesting. The freestyle cruise, it's going to Turks and Caicos. I know that.
Nice.
So we're going to be cruising and performing every night. The fans will be on board. It's sold out. It's a great way to get close to the fans and a nice way to have a working vacation. So I am stoked about that. Then in the coming months, it looks like a lot of freestyle shows all over the country. Freestyle Explosion shows, which are arena shows with multi acts.
Nice.
Coming to Boston, coming to a couple cities in Florida. I believe it's Miami and Orlando. It'll all be up on the website, prettypoisonmusic.com. And also on all my socials. Follow me at Jade Starling on my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Lots of dates coming up, and it looks like in the fall we're going to go over to the UK. We're going to do some dates over there. And also we're hoping to slide into Amsterdam while we're over there and just go to a cafe for a couple days.
Yeah.
I just want to go to a cafe for a couple days.
There you go.
If you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Eat some cake, and just love my life for a couple days.
Very good.
So that's on the horizon, and then at the end of the year, more towards the fall, we do something called 80s in the Sand, and that is in Cancun.
Nice.
Every year it's amazing. Like last year it was Billy Idol, Culture Club, oh my God, just so many, Belinda Carlisle, Sheena Easton, Wang Chung, Loverboy. I mean, it's a very interesting dynamic because it's all different kinds of acts. It's pop acts, freestyle acts, rock acts, but it's all kind of like from the 80s. So it's very interesting to see the fans that come out, and it's just like a time warp. Like you go there and you feel like you should have a mullet and you're like in a striped shirt and you're like in the 80s. It's just insane. And the fandom, the fans just go out of their minds. It's so freaking cool. Wow. And I do it. We've done it for about 5 years in a row, except for there was, I think 1 year it didn't happen because of the pandemic, and I believe it did happen the following year. But every year it's a different lineup, but we've been lucky enough to be included.
Oh,
so
very good.
I'm excited. That's another kind of a working vacation situation.
Indeed.
So yeah, there's a lot of great stuff on the horizon, and I don't even know if I told you that I just shot a video for Crazy.
Well, you're taking my last question away from me by mentioning it.
Damn it!
Well, go ahead and talk about it. Go ahead.
Rewind.
No. Go ahead. You're might as well. Cat's out of the bag now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to tell you before I left, before we got off the phone. But yeah, we just shot this incredible video with a young filmmaker named Ron Geffen. He does some amazing work, and I based it loosely on the original video of Seal Crazy. If you've seen that, if you haven't seen it in a while, look it up on YouTube. And there were certain aspects of it that I tried to recreate. It's not like I copied it verbatim, but there are a few things in my video that will definitely give you, Seal vibes. And it's kind of stark, but yet it isn't. It's hard to explain, but it's kind of like an acid trip, but a contained one, like a controlled acid trip. Does that make sense?
Totally. I get you.
Can't wait to see it.
And there's many images of me, like kind of like what you might imagine if a person was kind of maybe had many different personalities or many different like Sybil, like you would have many different versions of you inside your head, and then you just try to get them all out to be participating in the video. It's very interesting.
That sounds fun.
Exciting. Well, it wouldn't behoove us if we didn't discuss Catch Me I'm Falling.
Yeah.
Not only was it a giant hit for you guys, but it was also on the soundtrack to Hiding Out, the John Cryer film. Can you give our listeners an insight on how the song made it to the soundtrack?
We had actually released Catch Me I'm Falling. We did it on our own label independently. It was released on Svengali Records, and it started to take on a life of its own. So it started blowing up in the clubs, and especially in the Philadelphia area, and then it kind of started breaking out in New York, and then Miami, and then it just kind of started taking off, like on its own, all over the country. So we had actually sold about 50,000 copies of the single. And this DJ guy who was a friend of ours, his name is Martin Keown, he said he was friendly with this girl named Iris Dillon who worked at Virgin Records in New York. She was the rep for dance and R&B. So he had her come down to Philly, and they were doing some like running around, and he said that everywhere they went, the song would come on. Like they went to a club, the song came on. They listened to the radio. We were getting airplay on Q102, and the song came on the radio. And she's like, "What is this song? I keep hearing this song. I love it. I love it. What is it?" So he told her what it was. He ended up calling us, telling us about Iris. She wanted to get together and talk about, what we wanted to do.
Sure.
If we wanted to, take this thing to the next level, she would try to get it signed at Virgin. So she took the record that already had legs. Obviously, it was already taking off on its own. Took it to Virgin Records, and they loved it. They thought it would be perfect for this movie that was coming out called Hiding Out. There was a part in the movie that they used Catch Me where John Cryer, his lead character, he's at a roller rink with the girlfriend.
Yes.
And they're skating and they're falling in love. So it was very cute. It was very apropos for the part. So we ended up working out a deal. We signed a deal with them, a singles deal, and an album was in the works as Catch Me was blowing up. Catch Me just started blowing up so big that they were sending us all over the country to do these like radio promotion performances.
Mm-hmm.
So in the meantime, we're trying to make an album. We're living bi-coastal. We're recording in New York. We're recording in LA, and we're doing all this touring around. So it was a real test to how to handle, stress, fame, just being bombarded, and it all went down quick. It just went down really quick. It was a whirlwind, and the movie came out. We went to the premiere in LA, and I met John Cryer. Funny story about John Cryer. I'm talking to him, and he was talking to me, and he spit in my eye. Like when you talk to somebody and whatever. Yeah. I'm like, yo, you just spit in my eye. And he said, well, now that we've exchanged bodily fluids, why don't we get to know each other better? I was like, not.
Yeah.
No. Thank you. No ducky. Yeah, it was kind of weird. He was kind of nerdy, but it was kind of a cool experience. We were fortunate enough where we got to work with Paula Abdul.
Nice.
She choreographed 2 videos for us, Catch Me and Nighttime, which was the follow-up.
Yeah.
So we were going to all these functions. We were like going to the Soul Train Awards, went to like a big party at Eddie Murphy's house, just, got thrown into the whole Hollywood scene. It was just really cool, very, cool times, good times. Everything was very pure back then. It's not like it is now. You can just, you put something up online and, maybe you get discovered that way. People stream your music. I mean, back then, if they loved you, they went to your show, they bought your record. It wasn't about social media. It was about real celebrity worship. Like, if they were into you, they were into you. They followed you, went to your shows, bought your music. I mean, I just feel like sometimes, I don't really mean to sound like this because there is a lot of talent out there right now. I mean, tremendous amount of talent. But it almost seems like now it's a career choice. Johnny wants to be a fireman. Bobby wants to be a policeman. But Billy wants to be a rock star.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it just seems like it's a little bit not as authentic as it used to be. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, because now you just have a bunch of people getting on TikTok and thinking that they're an artist now.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yes. Anybody can do it. And I'm not saying that there isn't a lot of talent, because there is. There's a lot of talent out there. But I think because there was so much talent, especially coming out like late 80s when we came up and the 90s, I just feel like there's so many of those artists that are still legit, still touring,
yes,
and still have a lot of fans. I just don't know. I think there's a handful of artists right now that are just amazing and will pass the test in time. But I think there's also a lot of artists that you won't ever hear of again.
Oh, that's for sure. That is for sure.
In this era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's not to take away anything. I just think that the genre is too crowded. It's just too much.
Well, what did they say? That there was this percentage that new music being released on Spotify, it's like over 60,000 songs a week or something like that. I don't. Maybe I'm way off.
Yeah.
But it's
no, it sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds right. It's bizarre to me, and it's how many of those tracks, never see the light of day. I mean, they'll be lucky if 20 people listen to them. But kind of change the subject, Johnny here, but. Catch Me on Falling was also featured in the Netflix series Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Yeah. What a great series. But
it was very disturbing, but yes, awesome.
And that's the crazy thing about that series was my wife and I, we watched it, and it was so well done. You felt guilty for watching it because they were so
guilty pleasure.
Exactly. But how exciting was it for you and Pretty Poison to have, Catch Me I'm Falling get a reboot of sorts for this series.
Yeah. Well, we knew about a year before the series was in production when our publisher is Spirit Music, and they're the ones that anybody that uses our music has to go through them. So they had actually called us about a year before. They said, "Listen, there's a show that's interested in using Catch Me," and they sent us the treatment, which meant the scene it was going to be in.
Sure.
And they said, "Listen, I mean, they could change their mind. There's no guarantee. We don't know for sure, but they wanted to let us know that they're very interested in using the song." So when I found out what it was, and if it had anything to do with American Horror Story or Ryan Murphy, I'm like all in, I was so like, I almost fainted when I found out because I'm such a huge fan of anything Ryan Murphy and anything that's remotely in the ballpark of American Horror Story. So I was just so excited. We didn't want to get our hopes up too high, but then what happened was it was 2 weeks before the show was going to air. And they sent us, I believe it was, I forget what month it was. Was it October? I don't even remember I can't remember exactly, but I know that we got the call and we were just like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, this is a dream come true. Anything to do with Dahmer. I mean, and not Dahmer the person, but Dahmer the story.
Sure.
I mean, the story, of course, is a very despicable person who had, a lot of problems, brain issues from birth. I mean, terrible parents. If you think about it, the way he was brought up, I think it had a lot to do with it. But just overall, having the song in episode 4, when it streamed, we just went right to episode 4. We put it on because we just wanted to see the scene. And the scene was, if anyone who didn't see it, it already has billions of streams. But if you didn't see it, Jeffrey Dahmer, he would go to clubs. He would pick up men, bring them back to his house or a hotel. He brought the guy back. This was actually his first kill. He had brought the guy back. He accidentally drugged himself. He would usually he would roofie or drug his victims. He got sloppy and he accidentally drank the drink and drugged himself.
Yes.
So, which was rather comical. So they're out there, they're dancing to Catch Me. It's like, oh my God, this is so funny. This is so funny. So he manages to drag himself back into the bathroom. He fixes another drink. He drugs the guy, so on and so forth. We know what happened. It was his first kill. But the great thing about the scene was we thought it was over. And then, the music faded out. And then it came back.
Yes, it did.
Oh, my God. We were like, oh, this is a gift. This is a gift from God. This is amazing. So it plays mostly through the whole song. It fades out, and we're like, oh my God, that was so cool. And then it came back. So it was like a little extra icing on the cake. And, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better situation to be in a Ryan Murphy show that's gotten billions of streams. It's been declared like the #1 most viewed show on Netflix. Yes. And then Evan Peters just won a Golden Globe for his performance. Mm-hmm. So our song is featured in a Golden Globe winning series.
That's awesome.
You can't beat that.
Yeah.
You can. You can't beat it with a stick, although I'm sure Dahmer would have tried.
He probably would have. He would have beat it with a stick and then cut it up and eaten it. All right.
And then put the head in the refrigerator.
Most likely. I have one last question for you, then we'll leave you alone for the evening.
You don't have to leave me alone.
Well,
it's all good.
But I have to tell you. So when I first contacted you about negotiating, coming on the podcast and getting a date set up, my wife and I were watching the series, and that episode, that part of the episode come on, episode 4. And the song came on. I turned to Amy and said, I just talked to her through email like 2 days ago. Amy, my wife's name's Amy, and she says, "You're kidding me, right?" I was like, "No. How ironic is this?" Yeah. So,
oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was
great.
The irony was just the timing. Yeah. It was amazing. But anyway, last question for you.
Sure.
The mystery of rock and roll. The umbrella of rock and roll, of all the genres that are underneath the umbrella. The dawning of the internet, social media, has taken away from the mystery of rock and roll. There's no longer a mystery anymore. For you, the artist, and you as the fan, which do you prefer? Do you prefer the accessibility that the social media gives us? Because if we didn't have social media, we would never contacted each other, and this would have never happened. But yet, on the flip side, the mystique is gone. So where are you at? What do you prefer?
I mean, at this point, there's really no preference because I've experienced both. I've had my life, and career, the first part of my career, without social media.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, growing up not having that accessibility and just relying on live performances and things like that. I didn't know any better back then. So now I know the possibilities. So knowing what I know now, it's helped me to sustain my career.
Mm.
I have longevity, which most artists don't, coming from, late 80s through the 90s. A lot of those groups came and went. I've spent a career trying to maintain a connection with my fans and keeping the music relevant and reinventing myself and doing solo records that are produced by Way Cooler, so we can be Pretty Poison and we can be Jade Starling and I can be working with other artists and he can be working with other artists. So I believe that the social media and the world and the plethora of fans and accessibility that it's opened us up to has helped to not only sustain the career, but it's helped to open it up to new fans. I mean, we have such a wide range of fans spanning from, the parents to the kids and, all that. So I think it's interesting and I feel very fortunate that I have experienced both sides of it. Not having social media and being legitimately accepted,
Mm-hmm.
And now having social media and being able to keep in touch with people and actually, the beauty of social media is I don't feel like I've lost touch with anybody because I've been able to just keep in touch with people that I wouldn't normally see or talk to. So that is the beauty of it. And I'm happy to say, I have a lot of followers on social media. So
yes, you do.
whether they know me from, Catch Me I'm Falling and Nighttime and back in the day, that stuff, or they know me now from doing my solo stuff, it's to me so rewarding to be able to actually communicate with fans. And I do like to answer people. Like I was going through my DMs and that's how I saw your message. I mean, if I wasn't active personally, I may have missed your message. So
it all worked.
Yeah.
I mean, there's let's get real. There's certain creeps that definitely, they hit up the DMs and you're definitely not going to respond.
Right.
But I've been really pretty fortunate about, having people reach out to me through social media for just like what we're doing, interviews, Zoom, podcasts, things like that. So, I'm happy for both sides of it. I can't say that, it hasn't been bad, put it that way. But I'm happy to say that the reason that we're here talking right now is because the fans made it so in the beginning, legitimately, by following, like seriously following, like
yes.
on foot, like following,
yeah,
like stalking, like following. So it's a double-edged sword, I think. But I will say that there are certain people that are so obsessed with their social media that they have forgotten about the real world and having real relationships and actually speaking to people in person and looking at people's eyes and seeing people's reactions and things like that. So I think that gets lost on a lot of people, that there is such thing as real life communication. And, let us not forget that communicating with people live and in person is one of the best things that we have, one of the best gifts that we have. So we should not forget to actually talk to people in person and not rely on always, texting and calling and DMing.
It almost feels like it's a lost art, doesn't it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I love doing live shows, because it's my chance to get close to the audience, and I just feed off that energy, and there's nothing like it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we're out of our allotted time for the evening. Is there anything that we left off tonight that you would like to plug or promote?
I just want people to, again, my socials at Jade Starling. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and the website prettypoisonmusic.com. You can check out the upcoming tour dates. Check out Crazy. It drops on the 10th of February, and the video too. And don't forget to stream. Check me out on all the platforms. And I thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me tonight. And I just want to say to the fans that my love for you runs incredibly deep, and I always will love you. And I appreciate you still coming around and following us. We just love you. We'll keep making the music, and you keep dancing to it. And everybody just love each other, treat each other with respect. Let's just make this time on earth a pleasant one for all of us. Let's just be good to each other.
Well said.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'll be in contact with you next week with the episode all ready to go. Sound good?
Thank you.
Hey.
And I just want to say happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Fantastic.
Lots of love.
All right.
Mwah.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you, too.
Good.
Thanks, guys.
Good night. Bye. Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Everybody Everybody bites their tongue and pays their bills instead. Hide in the spotlights, fight the grip of death. You can have the air you need, but you best not take one breath. Hey. Roll the dice. Take your chances. Everybody knows the game is fixed, there is no prize. Everybody pulls the plug and says their last goodbyes. Move to the sunshine, fight the grip of nights. If they ever take from